Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. A little bit better. Alright, so here's the thing with Maxie and Felicia. When Maxie gave Felicia for her lying part in this whole trying to get Spinelli to come over and help out with the finances, I felt like it was BS because it just didn't really make a lot of sense. But, when she said that she fell in love with Spinelli, under so-called false pretenses, I also kind of felt like that was BS too. Because Felicia was like, y'all always had a connection. Even when you were with other people, y'all had a connection. So in some ways, I kind of felt like the scene was somewhat poorly written. And, Felicia was like, it's not like he lied to you out of, like he didn't sit there because she kept sitting there making a big deal out of him lying to her. And she was like, well, it's not like he did it, like out of malice. And I'm like, okay, well, if you know that, then why are you still so upset? Also, why would you sit there and compare him to Peter August? How even Felicia wasn't there, um, like it's not like he's, the second coming of Peter August or anything. And so most of her stuff didn't make a lot of sense. The only thing that I understood because she was like, I'm afraid of us trying again and it's just not working out. And I'm like, okay, I guess that somewhat makes sense, but it was more about the kids and that I understood. Because it's one thing if they don't work out, it will suck, but it's worse for the kids. And that's where I understood where she was coming from because they did have a rocky history. And so I understand, her pausing on the whole thing. Hell, to be honest, I would sit there and say, as far as maybe them just not trying at all for the kids' sake. So at some point, Chase and Dante question Selena's bodyguard. And at first he's like, listen, I don't talk to cops or anything like that. He's just not really saying much. But then he does sit there and tell Dante and Chase about, Selena's plan. And I'm kind of just like, wait, why would you give up that information so easy, right? And at some point, they get to Anna's and John. Interesting, John came in there and Anna was like, I don't work for you. He came in like, oh well, I want Sonny going or whatever, and you're gonna help me. And it was like, well, I'm sorry, did you just walk in my office and start demanding that I do anything? So I did think that that was pretty hilarious. Um, Anna Smith there talking about how Sonny is a gray area. Yes, he's done a lot of bad things. I've called him out on the things that he's done bad, but he's done some good things as well. And so, they go back and forth about that. John, he has a right to be pissed off because the stuff that Sonny said yesterday was definitely out of pocket. I mean, regardless of what he was regardless of what Sonny was trying to do, it was definitely out of pocket. So they go back and forth a little bit. And like I said, Dante and Chase comes in there and it's like, hey, listen, Lee told us that, Sonny and Selena, they ready to spring a trap on who is ever going after them. And so John is like, all right, we got to go there and stop it. And I'm just like, and this is just my theory that the bodyguard is working for John, who's working for somebody, because this guy gave up that information way, way too easily. Um, and seeing how this guy was about to get tortured for not giving up names. And the cops is like, hey, listen, we can put you on WISEC or whatever, or we could just sit there and let you go. And he just gave it up that easy. I'm like, something was just kind of off about that whole thing. So the birthday party for Scout is there, and you got pretty much everyone from Alexis, Sam, Willow, Michael, Blaze, Christina. There's some cringy scene with Danny or Jake being starstruck by Blaze, which I'm just like, okay. Um, at some point, Danny goes outside, and Jake goes to go and find him. And, he walks up to him. He's like, yo, something smells kind of sweet or whatever. He's looking around, and then he finds a vape. So, he's disappointed. He's like, yo, listen, I don't want anything to happen to you, whatever, so I'm just going to just take this and throw it away. Because at first, Danny's like, so what, you going to snitch on me or whatever? I'm like, bro, you ready to throw hands? Like, you do realize that's your brother right there, or at least half your brother. You ready to sit there and throw hands? Like, really? And Jake is like, no, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna throw it away, whatever. So they start trying to, grab for it back and forth. And Willow comes in. Willow's like, yo, I heard shouting was good. So she kind of stops it, and Jake is like, no, we just jogging around or whatever. It's no big deal. Um, I mean, Danny's definitely going through this whole rebellious phase up until the point where Sam, after talking to Carly about how Drew seems a lot more mellow, as Drew to sit there and kind of just talk to Danny, kind of just hang out with him and see what's going on because, as a mom, your son is only going to sit there and tell you so much. Um, or be a lot more looser with, another man, somebody that I don't know if he looks up to him or whatever, but I don't know. Sometimes it's just easier to sit there and talk to a guy about certain things other than one, talking to your mom, and two, talking to a woman. Let's just be real. Um, Now, Drew also did talk to Alexis, and Alexis was sitting there asking, like, what happened to Nina, why she get fired or whatever. And part of me is just like, why does that matter? She's your boss. Like, I mean, you're asking for references to hire her. And she can fire you like that. So I don't really understand why she's meant to ask these questions and questions that she knows the answer to them. And of course, Drew's like, oh, she did out of spite or whatever, so I had to let it go because I didn't trust her. I'm like, you did it out of retaliation. Let's just be honest. Regardless, if Drew is like, hey, listen, she wasn't doing it for her civil duty or whatever, regardless of whatever the situation was, you still did it. You decided to be petty and fire her. To hire somebody that's less experienced than her. Because, well, you're just petty. Let's just be honest. At some point, Michael talks to Carly and he tells Carly that, he's bringing back, Dex or whatever to sit there and watch over Sonny because, he's in way over his head. Talks about this connection with the five families or the three families or however families are actually left at this point. And Carly's like, yo, listen, he already doesn't trust you. He's already furious at you for what you did. How do you think he's going to sit there and feel now? But, Michael's looking at the situation like, yeah, listen, he can be mad at me all he wants, but he's still going to be breathing at the end of the day. So, at this point, Michael's just like, listen, if I got to sit there and continue to sit there and play Judas, fine. But he's going to be alive at the end of the day. Now, Spinelli, goes to the house, goes to Sonny's penthouse, and, Ava's there, and they talk about springing a trap or whatever. And Ava's like, I'm going. Because they're doing some sort of meeting or whatever, and Ava's like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna represent the third, she's part of the Jerome family or whatever. And she's like, it'd be much more convincing if I go to sit there and kind of make it look more legit. To be honest, none of this seems legit. Honestly, none of this seems legit. You just have three people and some guards or whatever in this little warehouse to spring a trap or whatever. And of course, Ava's like, what makes you think that this person's not going to be doing the same thing? You know, just kind of having somebody wait in the wind and seeing what you're doing. So I don't even really understand how this trap is supposed to work. You just have three mob families just kind of hanging out at a warehouse and be like, all right, I guess you can sit there and come and kill us now. Anytime. I mean, we're just wide open. And I mean, I know this is a soap opera, so it's like certain things I gotta just sit there and let go at the wayside, like things that would actually make sense, but it's a big ass warehouse, right? What makes you think that this person won't just hire some people, go in there, take these people out, they're in the open. So when they get there, Selena's like, I don't trust you or whatever. But Sunny really vouches for her. Sunny's like, yo, listen, I trust her. You know, she's I trust her. But everyone's sitting there thinking that, they're gonna want to hook up. There's been talks where people have said that Sunny's gonna hook up with Blaze's mom. Um, Either one of those two theories is just really out of pocket because the divorce papers aren't even like signed yet. So he does something like that. That's just a trash ass move. It is. And I like Sunny, but I gotta sit there and keep that same energy. No one is spared the rod, and I think at this point everyone knows that. Anyway, I think that's pretty much about it. I can't think of anything else that wound up happening. But if I forget anything, you come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the shows, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Born and Beautiful, Young and Restless. And yeah, I will see you in the next video or hopefully live stream.